we discuss about the simple linear regression, where we say that in simple linear regression, y is a dependent variable and x is an independent variable. And if you define the model like y equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x plus epsilon, where y is dependent, x is independent, beta 0 is intercept parameter, beta 1 is a slope parameter, and epsilon is a random error, which has the normal distribution with mean 0 and variance sigma square. Then we obtain the least square estimates of the beta 1 and beta 0. So least square estimate of the beta 1 is nothing but syx upon sx square, and beta 0 cap is y bar minus beta 1 cap x bar. Then we see the properties of the estimators, that beta 1 cap is unbiased estimator of a beta 1, and it has the normal distribution with mean beta 1, and variance is sigma square upon summation xi minus x bar whole square. We also obtain the estimate of the sigma square, that is nothing but the sum of square root 2 residuals divided by n minus degree of freedom. Okay, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we will talk about the analysis of variance. So why the analysis of variance? Because first, our objective of regression analysis is to see that is there any logical relationship between y and x. Y is a dependent and x is a independent variable. So before applying the regression analysis, you will see that the logical relationship, and then you can establish the statistical relationship that y and x has the correlation or not. If the correlation is there, you can draw the scatter plot and you can identify the relation between y-axis is a linear in the parameters or not. There are some assumption on epsilon, that is the random quantity epsilon or error, has the mean 0 and variance sigma square, and they are normally independently distributed. So to verify that, first we usually apply the regression, least square estimate we obtain, and by using that we predict the value of y. After predicting the value of y, we obtain the residual. Residual is nothing but the difference between the observed and predicted value. And we apply the run test or the theory of run test on a residuals to see that whether residuals are independent or not. We apply the normality test on a residuals to see that whether residuals are normal or not, because our assumption is on epsilon, not on y. Okay, so many times what happen, we start with that, okay, let us y is independent, y is normal, but sometimes what happen, it doesn't turns out to be independent normal. So sometimes we said we cannot proceed with the regression analysis. No, you should continue with the regression analysis, obtain the estimate, obtain the models, obtain the residuals, and now verify whether the residuals satisfy the basic assumption or not. Okay, and that is how we apply the concept of residual analysis. So you can make the histogram of residuals, you can make the normal probability plot of a residuals. Okay, and if all the points is covered by the line in normal probability plot, then you say that residuals follow the normal distributions. You can also use the Shapiro-Wilks normality test, which is available in R language, or you can use the Kolmogorov-Minto test to see that whether the residuals follow the normal distribution or not. Now there is an assumption on residual that variance of residual is a constant. So how will you check this constant assumption? Variance of residual is a constant. So you usually make a plot of residual versus fitted value. And if you do not get any kind of pattern, then we say that data does not, or the variance of residuals is a homogeneous across the all observation. So after doing that, our next target is that we wish to go for the testing of hypothesis, that is all the beta 0 and beta 1s are simultaneously 0 or not. And for that we require the analysis of variance. So we will talk about that. To test the significance of regression, that means whatever the regressions we have taken, in our setup we have taken the model y is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 xi plus epsilon I running from 1 to n. So here whether this particular x is really important for y or not. That means this independent variable is really important to predict the value of y or not. So to test is, we wish to see that whether the beta 1 is significant or not. Suppose beta 1 is 0, whatever value of you xi takes, there is no impact on the y. So we always try to see that what is the impact of the x on the y. So we always try to see that the significance of beta 1. And if you take beta 0, then again you can. So our hypothesis we wish to test in this setup is usually beta 0 and beta 1 are simultaneously 0. And to perform this hypothesis, we have to use the concept of analysis of variance. Once the hypothesis is rejected, that means both are not simultaneously 0. Beta 0 and beta 1 both are not simultaneously 0. Then you wish to see that whether they are individually 0 or not. And to assess about the individuality of the 0, we apply the concept of a t-test. So that we will see in the next session. To test the hypothesis of the significance of regression, we use analysis of variance approach. The ANOVA are based on the partition of a total variability into the two parts. So total variability of response. Total variability of response into the usually a two part. One is that sum of square due to regression and sum of square due to total. So how this will partition? So we will apply. To show that, let us go with this identity. Can we write this yi minus y bar equal to, we subtract y cap and add y cap. So again, this is a yi minus y bar. So can I write in this way, yi minus y bar is equal to yi minus yi cap and yi cap minus y bar. So this is the one part. And this is the another part. Okay. So left hand side remains the same because we have just added and subtracted the yi cap. Y cap is nothing but it is a fitted value of y. So if you take square both the side and then the summation over all n, so it is a summation I running from 1 to n yi minus y bar square. And here I have to first take the square and then summation. So it is a sum of yi cap minus y bar plus yi minus yi cap whole square. Now it is a, let us say this is a and this is a b. So it is a kind of a plus b square. So you can say that it is a square plus b square into twice of ab. So here we can write the summation yi cap minus y bar square plus summation yi minus y cap square plus twice of summation of yi cap minus yi cap y bar into yi minus yi cap. Now what is the yi minus yi cap? It is the observed value and this is the predicted value. The difference between observed and predicted is giving the residual. So this is nothing but actually a residual sum of squares that we will show you later. So now first we find out this, what happened to this twice of summation yi cap minus y bar into yi minus yi cap. So I have to show that it is a 0. So how it is a 0? So just I am taking this yi okay. So what you do, this yi cap into yi. So this is a, इसकी जगह पे ऐसे चलो. This is nothing but twice of summation yi cap minus y bar into yi minus yi cap. Y cap minus y bar को इसको क्या लिखेंगे? We write is a residuals. So this is the twice of summation ei into y cap minus This is a y bar, not dy. Okay, because we write yi minus yi cap equal to ei. Now, what happened to the? We have already proved that summation ei yi cap, that is 0. Summation ei yi, that is also 0. So you can multiply ei yi cap, their summation is 0. Then you say that ei yi cap ei into y bar. So ei into y bar means y bar is, if you take the outside, the summation of ei is 0. So that is also a 0. This is nothing but you can write, I can write ei yi cap minus ei y bar. This is nothing but 0. What about this? If you take this as a 0 minus y bar is common, summation ei. But we know that summation ei is also a 0. We have already proved. It is 0 minus 0. That is the 0. So that means this is a twice of this part is 0. So it means that this summation yi minus y bar square is split up into the two parts, summation yi cap minus y bar square plus summation yi minus yi square. So this is what it is written. But we know that summation yi cap minus y bar square is nothing but beta 1 cap sxy. ये हम जानते हैं. And this is nothing but actually a summation of ei square. So that is nothing but summation of ei square. So we call it is a sum of square of residuals. So this is a sum of total observations. That is sum of square due to total. So we know that as a sum of square due to total, which is split up into the two part. Sum of square due to, this is nothing but beta cap transpose x transpose y for a multivariate setup, and for univariate setup it is a beta 1 cap sxy. So it is called sum of square due to regression. So let equation 3 star this particularly. Is sum of square of observation, that is SST, which measures the total variability in the data. Okay. The two components of SST measures respectively. SST means sum of square due to total. It has the two components which measure respectively the amount of variability in the observation yi accounted by the regression line, that is SS due to regression, and the residual variation left unexplained by the regression line. So sum of square due to total is split up into the sum of square due to, or the amount of the variability in the y is explained by the regression line, and the amount of variability which is not explained by the regression line. So we call them as a sum of square due to total is divided, because it is for the regression line. So it is the sum of square due to regression, and this is called sum of square due to residuals. What is the degree of freedom of sum of square due to total? So of course there are n observation. You are losing 1 degree of freedom, so it is n minus 1. How many parameters you have to independently estimate in the regression line? We have to only estimate the beta 1. So the degree of freedom of the sum of square due to regression is 1. So what is the degree of freedom of the errors? It is n minus 1 minus 1, because we know that degree of freedom of SS residual is nothing but total degree of freedom minus degree of freedom due to regression. It is a n minus 2. And we know that sum of square due to residuals, okay, इसको कैसे ms due to residuals is nothing but sum of square due to residual divided by degree of freedom. Degree of freedom is n minus 2. This is cancelled. So we know that sum of square due to residuals follow the chi-square with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. So now our basic idea is that we wish to test the H naught. Beta 1 equal to 0. So we know that the SS0 has the chi-square with m degree of freedom. Here, how many parameters under H0? It is a 1. So it is a chi-square 1 degree of freedom. So SSR and SS residuals are independent, that we know. Why they are independent? You can also prove from this, because the covariance between yi cap minus y bar and yi minus yi cap. So this is belong to estimation part and this is belong to errors part. So therefore this is belong to the sum of square due to regression is associated with estimation part and sum of square due to residual is associated with the error part. Estimation space and error space. So and they are orthogonal. So therefore SSR and SS residuals are also independent or orthogonal. So if you take the ratio of two independent chi-square divided by corresponding degree of freedom, so SSR has the chi-square with 1 degree of freedom and SSRES has the chi-square with n minus 2 degree of freedom. So ratio of two independent chi-square divided by degree of freedom, it is known as the F. So we know that SSR upon degree of freedom is known as a mean square due to regression, and SS residuals divided by degree of freedom, it is known as the mean square due to residual, and ratio of this follows the F with numerator degree of freedom is 1 and denominator degree of freedom is n minus 2. And we have already proved that expectation of MS residual is equal to sigma square. And what is the expectation of MSR? So it is the expectation of SSR divided by degree of freedom. That is nothing but sigma square plus beta 1 square Sx. We have proved this for a multivariate setup in a concept of a general linear model. You can try at the homework. Expectation of mean square due to regression is equal to sigma square plus this. And under which condition expectation due to mean square due to regression and mean square due to errors residuals are same? It is same when beta 1 equal to 0. So if you substitute beta 1 equal to 0, this part is vanished. So it is a sigma square. It is expected of MS due to regression is sigma square and MS due to residual sigma square, provided beta 1 is 0. So in our table you can write regression, sum of, that is the source of variation, then sum of square, degree of freedom, mean square, and corresponding the F. So regression, sum of square is given by the source of variation is regression, residuals, and total. What is the source of variation? Sum of square due to regression. It is a beta 1 cap Sxy. What is the sum of square due to residuals? So it is a sum of square due to total minus sum of square due to regression, and sum of square due to totals that we have already obtained. What is the degree of freedom associated with regression? It is only 1. What is the degree of freedom associated with the total? It is n minus 1. So what is the degree of freedom of residuals? Total minus degrees of freedom of regression. It is n minus 1 minus 1 is n minus 2. What is mean square? So mean square is nothing but it is a ratio of source of sum of square divided by corresponding degree of freedom, and MS due to residual is sum of square due to residual divided by n minus 2, and F0 is the ratio of MSR upon MS0. Okay, so if you wish to, so ultimately our aim is that we wish to, we are testing this. Okay, so now the question is that we wish to see that whether the individual estimates are, once the hypothesis is rejected. So how will you say that whether the hypothesis is rejected? If the F0 is exceed F1 minus alpha 1, यही हमने किया था ना, n minus 2 reject H0, otherwise accept H0. So reject H0 means these two parameters are not simultaneously 0. So now we wish to see that whether they are individually 0 or not. So to check individuality is 0, let us test the hypothesis beta 1 equal to 0 or not. So to test this beta 1 equal to 0, what is the distribution of beta 1 cap? We know that beta 1 cap has normal with mean beta 1 and variance is sigma square upon summation xi square. If you take the deviation from the mean, then what happen? Beta 0 is 0. आपने देखा था कि when you take the deviation form of the model, then beta 1 equal to 0. Okay, so यहाँ पे हम f में h1 beta 1 equal to 0 का टेस्टिंग करेंगे. So what is the distribution of estimated value minus beta 0 divided by standard? So it has a, because sigma square is unknown. If you say that beta 1 cap minus beta 1 upon square root of sigma square upon summation xi square, but sigma square is unknown. So instead of z test, it has a t distribution, and that is how the test statistics is a t. So beta 1 cap under h naught, what is the value of beta 1? It is a 0 and divided by the standard error of beta 1 cap. But what is the standard error? It is a sigma cap square upon summation xi square. What is the sigma cap square? We say it is a ms due to residual. And ms due to residual is nothing but ss due to residual divided by degrees of freedom n minus 2. Or ssx is nothing but, here we have taken the deviation form of model, so it is a xi square. And if you take without deviation form of model, then it is a xi minus x bar whole square. So what is your, this is the beta 1 cap, sx and this, and if you take the square, so what is that beta 1 cap sx square upon msc, and beta 1 cap sx, what is that? What is this? So we know that beta 1 cap square sxx is equal to beta 1 cap, and 1 beta 1 cap we can write sxy upon sxx, and this is sxx. So this is cancel out, so it is a beta 1 cap sxy, and it is nothing but sum of square due to regression. So sum of square due to regression divided by 1 divided by MSC, it is as the f. The relation between the t and f is f equal to t square, provided the relation between y and x is linear. So sometimes we may ask in the MCQ, what is the relation between f and t when the relation between y and x is a linear in parameters? So the relation is f is equal to t square. So once the hypothesis is rejected, what is your next task? You say that if this hypothesis is rejected, so how will you reject this hypothesis? कैसे रिजेक्ट करते हैं? तो आप कहते हैं कि एब्सोल्यूट वैल्यू ऑफ t0 is exceeded t alpha n minus 2 degree of freedom, reject h naught, otherwise accept h naught. So reject, when I am saying that reject h naught, what it means? Beta 1 is not 0. Beta 1 is not 0, it means that the whatever the variable associated with the beta 1, it is important to predict the value of y. And what is the value of y? Sorry, what is the variable associated with beta 1? It is a x. So that means x is an important variable to predict the value of y. Now, once we obtain the testing of hypothesis, or we want to perform the testing of hypothesis, and the null hypothesis is rejected, so now we wish to go for the interval estimation in the simple linear regression. So interval estimate means you wish to find out the interval of 95% confidence interval for the parameters lies in the particular range. So if you wish to find out the interval estimate for the beta 0, beta 1 and sigma square, we will proceed as follows. The width of the confidence interval is measure of the overall quality of the regression line. If the errors are normally distributed, then we know that the sampling distribution of beta 0 cap minus beta upon this and beta 1 cap minus beta 1 is t with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. Under H naught beta 0 equal to 0 and beta 1 equal to 0. So now the confidence interval for the slope is given by, we know that beta 1 estimated value plus or minus test statistics value, estimated value of the parameters plus or minus test statistics value t alpha by 2 n minus 2 degree of freedom and to the standard error of beta 1 cap. So what is the lower bound? Beta 1 cap minus t alpha by 2 n minus 2 standard of beta 1. So this is what. And what is the upper bound? It is a plus. So beta 1 is lies between these two. This is said to be 100 into 1 minus alpha confidence interval of a beta 1. Now similarly, if I wish to find out 100 into 1 minus alpha confidence interval for the intercept beta 0, so again same estimated value plus or minus t alpha by 2 n minus 2 standard error of beta 0 cap. So this is a beta 0 cap minus t alpha by 2 n minus 2 standard of beta 0 cap, and upper bound is a beta 0 cap plus t alpha by 2 n minus 2. Now what is the value of the variance of beta 1 cap, and what is the value of variance of beta 0 cap? क्या है, किसी को याद है? तो whatever the values of variance of beta 1 cap, उसका square root यहाँ पे देना है, and whatever the value of variance of beta 0, their square root you have to use as a standard error of beta 0 cap. This confidence interval have the usual interpretation that if we were to take a repeated sample of the same size at the same same alpha level and construct the 95% confidence interval. Here alpha is not 0.5, it is a 0.05. On the slope of each sample, the 95% of those intervals will contain the true value of beta 1. So what is saying that if you take the repeated samples of a same size at same alpha level and construct the 95% confidence interval, so whatever the estimated value of beta 1 you are getting, that always lies in this interval. And what is the probability for that? With the 95% confidence, you are saying that the true value of the beta lies in this particular confidence bound. So of course, if errors are normally distributed, now what is the confidence interval for the sigma square? So of course, sigma square is nothing but what is the estimate of sigma square? So that is you have obtained ms due to residuals. Okay. So I wish to find out the confidence interval for the ms due to residuals. So we know that n minus 2 ms residual divided by sigma square is the chi-square. हम जानते हैं ना, n minus 2 ms due to residuals upon sigma square. ms due to residual is a ss due to residuals divided by n minus 2. This is cancel out. So ss due to residuals divided by sigma square, and we know that it has the chi-square distribution with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. So this particularly lies between chi-square. This is the lower bound, chi-square 1 minus alpha by 2 n minus 2, and this is the upper bound. And then you take the ratio of this. So you say that chi-square 1 upon chi-square alpha by 2 n minus 2 is here, sigma square upon n minus 2 MSC, and 1 upon this. Now you supply this n minus 2 MSE here and this. So 95% confidence interval of a sigma square is given by n minus 2 MSE upon chi square alpha by 2 n minus 2. That is the lower bound, and upper bound is given by n minus 2 MSE upon chi square 1 minus alpha by 2 n minus 2. Is that clear? So we have seen the confidence interval for the beta 0 cap, beta 1 cap, and sigma square. Now, if I wish to find out the confidence interval for mean response, you have obtained the value of y cap, expected value of y cap. That is nothing but y given x equal to x0. So given a value of x0, what is the confidence intervals of a expected value of y upon y given x equal to x0? So of course we require the variance of y cap. Okay. So first we find out what is the expectation of y cap given x0. So we know that it is a mu2. Mu2 is nothing but mean of y into r into sigma y upon sigma x, x minus mu1. So for a estimated value mu2, it is a y bar. R into sigma y upon sigma x, you can write as a beta 1 cap, and this is x0 and x1 is x bar. Now this is y bar minus beta 1 cap x bar and beta 1 cap x0. So it is nothing but beta 0 cap x, and this is the estimate. Sorry, यहाँ पे आप ऐसे लिखा, यहाँ पे आप estimated देंगे because we have subtracted the estimated value, and this is called the y cap. Okay, so this is, so now first to find out the confidence interval for this, I have to first find out the variance of this. So what is the variance of y cap given x0? So that is nothing but variance of beta 0 cap plus beta 1 x. What is the variance of beta 0 cap plus beta 1 x? You can write this way. It is y bar plus beta 1 cap x minus x0 minus x bar. Now what is this? It is a variance of y bar plus 2 times covariance between y bar and beta 1 cap x0 minus x bar plus x0 minus x bar square into variance of beta 1 cap. But we already proved that covariance between y bar and beta 1 x0 minus x bar bahar le lenge to covariance between y bar and beta 1 cap, that is 0. That we have already proved. So it is nothing but the variance of y bar plus x0 minus x bar square into variance of beta 1 cap. So what is the variance of y bar? It is a sigma square upon n. What is the variance of beta 1 cap? It is a sigma square upon sxx. सिग्मा स्क्वायर बाहर ले लो तो क्या आएगा 1 upon n x0 minus x bar square upon sx. This is the variance of y cap given x0. So of course, what is the confidence interval? The estimated value minus true value divided by the square root of that. Square root of the variance of y cap, this, and it has the, because y has the normal distribution. Beta 0 cap has distribution, beta 1 cap has also normal, so y cap is a linear function of that, it has also a normal distribution. So estimated value minus true value divided by the corresponding standard errors. Follow the under H naught. Under H naught it is a t with n minus 2 degrees of freedom. Why n minus 2? N minus 2 is a error degree of freedom. So here instead of sigma square we have subtracted the ms due to residuals. If sigma square is known, then this distribution becomes the z. But here sigma square is unknown, so we have to estimate. So we know that when sigma square is unknown, to test that we have to use the t distribution. What is the confidence interval? Estimated value plus or minus t alpha by 2 n minus 2 into the standard error of mu y cap upon mu cap y given x0. So this is the standard error. So here it is a one time, it is a minus, and here it is 1. So this is giving the 95% confidence interval for the mean response at x equal to x0. ऐसे एमसीक्यू आपको पूछ सकते हैं या एक लाइन मार्क में भी आपको पूछ सकते हैं, गिव द वेरिएंस ऑफ द मीन रिस्पांस गिवन x0, what is the distribution of the mean response x0. So that you can give the 95% confidence interval, 100 into 1 minus alpha % confidence interval, the mean response at given x equal to x0. Okay. Any question up to this? Any question? Hello?
No, sir.
नो सर.
मुझे लगा कि नेटवर्क चला गया क्या, जवाब नहीं आया तो. Now there are sometimes what happen here, what we have obtained, given a value of x0, we try to predict the value of y. Now we wish to predict the new observation. We wish to predict the new observation. वहां पे हमने क्या predict किया था? We have predicted the new response, not new response. We have obtained the mean response given a value of x0. So suppose आपके पास n observation है, y1, y2, yn, and आपके पास n+1 similarly n observation x1, x2, xn. Now you have the given a value of x0. Now you wish to identify what is the value of yn+1. So that is the, I wish to predict the new observation. So an important application of regression model is prediction of a new observation corresponding to the specific value of the regression x. So if x0 be the specific value of the regression variables, and if I wish to predict the new observation, then y0 cap equal to beta 0 cap plus beta 1 cap is the point estimate of the new value of the response. हम यहाँ पे mean response नहीं ढूंढ रहे हैं, we are obtaining the point estimate of a new response. आगे वाले केस में हमने क्या लिया था? It was a y cap given x equal to 0. We were finding the mean response. Here we are finding the estimate of a new response value y0. Now consider the interval estimate of the future observation y0. The confidence interval, the mean response of x equal to x0 is appropriate for this problem because it is an interval estimate of the mean of y, not a probability statement about the future observation from the distribution. So we will obtain a prediction interval for the future observation y0 as, so our aim is that we wish to find out the predicted prediction interval for the y0. Y0 is nothing but the future observation. We don't know which observation value is that, but we try to find out prediction interval for the y0 cap. So let us define the variable psi y0 minus y0 cap, which has the normal distribution with mean 0, because what is the expectation value of y0? It is y. And what is the expected value of y0 is constant, so expected value of y0 cap, it is y0, so that is, it has the mean is 0 and variance is y0 minus y0 cap. So variance is y0 minus y0 cap. What is y0 cap? It is a beta 0 cap plus beta 1x, but minus sign is here, so we can write it as beta 0 cap minus beta 1 cap x0. And what is the variance of this? So it is a variance of y0 minus variance of y0 cap, but we have already obtained the variance of y0 cap is sigma square 1 by n plus x0 minus x bar square upon sx. And what is the variance of y0? It is a sigma square. So it is simply a sum of this. So that you have to prove at homework whether you are getting this or not. So it is a sigma square 1 plus 1 by n x0 minus x bar square upon sx. So of course, if you wish to find out the confidence interval, it has the t distribution. So what is that? It is 95% confidence interval for the future observation at x0 is given by y0 cap, that is the future observation estimated value, plus or minus t alpha by 2 n minus 2, and the standard error of y0 minus beta 0 cap minus beta 1 cap x0. This is an estimate of sigma square is this. So if I am talking about the confidence interval for mean response given x 0, तो ये 1 वाला term जो नहीं आएगा, this term will not be there. Okay. If I am talking about the give the prediction interval for the future observation, that is the y0 cap. Future observation y0, prediction interval for y0 given x0, then यहाँ पे एक क्या होगा, +1 ऐड हो जाए, क्यों? Because variance of y0 is sigma square. So this is all about the simple linear regression. Any questions up to this?
No.
So in brief, we can say whenever you wish to find out the regression or whenever you wish to perform the regression analysis, first you have to see that whether your regression model is a simple linear regression or it is a multiple linear regression. So how will you distinguish between the simple and multiple? If you have only one independent variable, dependent variable is one, and only one independent variable, then you say that it is a concept of a simple linear regression, provided the relation between y and x is a linear in parameters. But if you have a more than one independent variable, let us say x1, x2, xp or xk are independent variables, then you say that the relation between y and x1, x2, xk are linear in parameters, then such model is said to be a multiple linear regression model. So simple means एक ही independent रहेगा, multiple means एक से ज़्यादा independent variable रहेंगे. What are the assumptions in a simple linear regression? First assumption is that epsilon has the normally independent with mean 0 and variance sigma p square. Second one is that the errors and x, that means linear predictor variable x and residuals are independently distributed. Third is that residuals or errors. Then third is that errors and predicted values of y are also independent. Sum of yi is equal to sum of yi cap. Sum of residuals is 0 if you are saying that the model is with intercept. Without intercept, mein summation ei is not 0. Rest of the things are true. Then once you have the data is with you, you have to ask the first question to yourself: can we apply the concept of regression analysis? So what is the objective? The objective is to predict the response based on the X. For example, if I wish to predict the sales of car based on the advertisement expenditure, it is showing that some sort of a regression analysis is required. So first you have to see that is there any logical relationship between the response variable y and x? Yes, it is saying that the sales of car depends on the advertisement expenditure. It is showing that the logical relationship is there. Now you wish to see that whether this relationship is a linear or not. So of course you have given the data y and x. Make a scatter plot, and if the scatter plot showing the relation between y and x is a linear, okay, then we say that the data is linearly related with each other. तो आपके पास scatter plot कुछ ऐसा आता है. This is your y, this is your x, and scatter plot something like that. Then you say that okay, the relation between y and x is a linear. Now, if the scatter plot is like that, it is saying that it is passing through origin. It is showing that beta 0 is not there in the model. But if your plot is something like that, then it is saying that yes, intercept is present in your data. This is intercept beta 0 is 0. So depend by looking at the scatter plot, you can decide whether the model is required with intercept or without intercept. Sometimes you can also based on the logical relationship. For example, if you are making the production and temperature in a chemical processor, so productivity is a function of temperature. If you keep temperature 0, there is no productivity. It means that there is no role of intercept over there. But if you talk about the sales of a car, which is a function of the advertisement expenditure, if you are making the 0 expenditure on advertisement, still there is some sales of a car. So it is saying that the intercept is important in such a regression analysis. Once that things is clear, what is your next task? You wish to first estimate the models. So estimation of the models. So how will you obtain the estimate of the models? So of course, to estimate the model, it means that to estimate the parameters of the model. What are the parameters in the regression model? It is saying that there are 3 parameters. Beta 0 is intercept, beta 1 is the slope parameters, and sigma square is the variance of the residuals, and that is the variance of y. So how will you estimate the parameters of beta 0, beta 1, and sigma square? By using the theory of least squares. So what it means by least square? इसका मतलब है कि आपको जो स्क्वायर है उसको मिनिमाइज करना है. लिस्ट मीन्स मिनिमम. So we are trying to minimize the sum of square due to residual, sum of square due to error. Why? Because I wish to find the best estimate of the parameter beta 0 and beta 1 such that error component should be minimum. So instead of making error component minimum, I say that let us make the square of sum, or the sum of square of error should be minimum. So to obtain the least square estimate, you have to minimize the epsilon summation of epsilon I square with respect to beta 0 and beta 1. You will get the, and equated to 0, you will get the set of normal equation. And after solving the set of normal equation, you will get the estimate of the beta 1 cap as the summation xi minus x bar yi minus y bar upon summation xi minus x bar square. Or in terms of s, we can, it is a s xy upon sx square. What is the beta 0 cap? Beta 0 cap is nothing but y bar minus beta 1 cap x bar. And what is the estimate of sigma square? Estimate of sigma square is nothing but sum of the residuals divided by n minus 2. N minus 2 is the degree of freedom associated with the regression line. That is the error. Once the estimates are with you, what is your next target? Your next target is that I wish to find out the variance of beta 0 cap, variance of beta 1 cap. Okay, what is the variance of beta 0 cap? So variance of beta 0 cap you have obtained. It is nothing but the sigma square into sigma square upon sxx. And if you take the deviation form of the model, it is a sigma square upon sigma xi square. What is the variance of beta 0 cap? So beta 0 cap is nothing but variance of y bar minus beta 1 cap x bar. So you will get, it is a, क्या आएगा वो? Anybody? 1 by n plus sigma square in bracket 1 by n plus क्या आएगा? Or you can say that it is sigma square upon n plus sigma square upon sxx, is it? तो ये सारे एमसीक्यू में ऐसे क्वेश्चंस रहेंगे. आपको होमवर्क में दिया लग रहा है, आप बोल नहीं रहे इसलिए। तो यहाँ पे है वेरिएंस ऑफ बीटा जीरो कैप, इट इज वेरिएंस ऑफ y बार प्लस x बार स्क्वायर, वेरिएंस ऑफ बीटा वन कैप and minus 2 time covariance, but 2 time covariance is 0, so variance of y bar is a sigma square by n and x bar square upon variance into variance of beta 1 cap, and beta 1 cap is a sigma square upon xi minus x bar square. So the variance is nothing but variance of beta 0 cap is nothing but sigma square upon n plus x bar square sigma square upon sxx. So you can say that it is a sigma square outside 1 upon n plus x bar square upon sx. So this is this. So you have to find out this variance of beta 0 cap and variance of beta 1 cap, and then you can okay, once this all estimates their variance covariance we have obtained, our next task is that we wish to perform the testing of hypothesis. So in testing of hypothesis we are saying this is our model. Suppose beta 0 and beta 1 is 0. What happens? Whatever value of x you are taking, it has no impact on the y. That means regression model banega hi. And therefore, to test whether the regression model is really needed or not, we will go for the testing of this hypothesis. At least one of them is not 0. So to perform this, we apply the analysis of variance. And to perform the analysis of variance, we divide the total variance into the two parts: variation due to the sum of square due to regression and variation due to the errors. And then we show that it is a F distribution and compare the calculated value of F with the critical value of F. And if F is calculated is exceed the critical value of F, then we reject at naught. That means at least one of them is not 0, and for that we try to test whether they are individually 0 or not. To perform the individually 0 or not, we apply the concept of a p-test, and if the hypothesis is rejected in the beta 1 equal to 0, then we say that x is not important. That means beta 1 is 0, and beta 1 is 0, that at any value of x you are taking, it has no impact on the 1. Similarly, we will perform the test of beta 0 equal to 0 by the one sample t-test. It is a test of intercept as well as the slope coefficient. And then once the hypothesis is rejected, we always try to find out the 95% confidence interval which contain the true value of the beta 0 and beta 1. So we have obtained the 95% confidence interval for the beta 1 and beta 0. And third parameter is the sigma square, so we have also obtained the 95% confidence interval for the sigma square. Now we wish to find out the, suppose new value of x is given, let us say x0 is given. Now we wish to see that what is the expected response for a new observation. Okay, so that obtained by the expected value of y given x0, and we have obtained its mean and variance, and corresponding we obtain its confidence interval. Now we don't want to obtain the estimate of the mean response or predict the mean response given a new observation x0. We wish to predict the new future observation, that means y0, and what is their confidence intervals. So that future observation is given by y0 cap equal to, models we will use the same, beta 0 cap plus beta 1 cap. Instead of x, we use the x0, and then we give the confidence interval. Only the change is that in the standard error, when you find out the variance, so we have to add this 1 plus over here. So that is why we have obtained this. So you can prove this. How you can prove? It is the variance of y0 minus beta 0 minus. So this is split into this way. Variance of y0 minus beta, ये है beta 0 cap plus beta 1 cap x 0. So this is the variance of y0 plus variance of beta 0 cap plus beta 1 cap x minus twice of covariance between y0 and beta 0 cap plus beta 1 cap x0. So you have to show that variance of y0 and beta 0 covariance between this is 0. Variance of y0, covariance between y0 and beta 1 cap is 0. So this part is vanished. So it is the variance of y0 plus this. This is nothing but sigma square upon n. Sorry, sigma square, not upon n. And plus this is nothing but we already obtained. What is that? It is sigma square upon n plus sigma square x0 minus x bar square upon sx. And because this is 0, so sigma square is common, so you can give this sigma square into this. So once we obtain the estimated model, we will verify all the assumptions. What are the assumptions? So that means we have to study the residuals, and there is an entire thing is a residual analysis. आपने मॉडल फिटिंग किया, उसके बेस पे आपको also decide करना है कि whether your model is really good or not. So there are some goodness of fit criteria are there. That is the R square, adjusted R square, AIC, BIC, and Mello-Sipri statistics. So R square and adjusted R square is saying that if you say that R square equal to 0.9, what is the R square? R square you define like that. R square is equal to sum of square due to regression divided by sum of square due to total. And if you say it is a 0.9, it means that 90% of the total variation of y is explained by the regression. So whatever the x you have taken, it is explaining the 90% variation of y. So that we will see later when we talk about the goodness of fit criteria. So goodness of fit criteria is helpful to decide the best model. You have several models, among that which model is good. Okay. Residual analysis is basically useful for the deciding about the fitting of the models, whether the models are really fitting well or not. So you can make the residual plots. In residual plots, you can have a plots of residuals. You can have the normal probability plot of residuals. You can have a plot of residual versus fitted values. Then sometimes ordinary residuals doesn't help. Then you can apply the scaling of residuals. In scaling of residuals, you have a studentized residuals, standardized residuals, press residuals, student T residuals. So there are several residuals are there. So that we'll see about that, and what is the use of that residuals, that we will see. And sometimes what happen if there are the outliers or influential points is available in our data, then how to detect that influential point and outliers in the data. So outliers detection can be made based on the scaling of residuals. Influential point can be decided based on the plot of hook distance versus leverage. And what is the leverage point? Leverage point is nothing but it is a point of a x space which is far away from the centroid of the x. So that is called the leverage point. But leverage point is obtained by the ith diagonal value of a hat matrix. और hat matrix आपने देखा हुआ है प्रोजेक्शन ऑपरेटर P करके आपने लिखा था. P is equal to x एस बार एक्स डैश। इसकी जगह पे हम क्या कहते हैं यहाँ पे, बिकॉज हैट मैट्रिक्स हम डिफाइन करते हैं एक्स एक्स डैश एक्स ट्रांसपोज एस बार की जगह पे इनवर्स लेते हैं एन एक्स ट्रांसपोज। तो दिस इज गिविंग द हैट मैट्रिक्स, and if you take the ith diagonal value, it is giving the Lagrange point. And we will also obtain the Cook distance di, and we make the plot of di versus hii, and that will help you to decide is there any influential point in your data. So this is what we have to see. Any questions up to this?
No,
No.
sir.
So this is in simple linear regression models, or we can say that it may be any linear regression model, simple or multiple, but residual analysis, scaling of residuals, detection of outliers, detection of influential point, the theory remains the same. So that we will discuss later. Now I will talk about the multiple linear regression. So as I say that in a simple linear regression, this window is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So in a simple linear regression, if mathematically if I'm saying this is indicating the simple linear regression model. But if you add the regression, so this is example of a multiple linear regression. This is a simple and this is a multiple. And the relation between the y and x1, x2 is linear in parameter. So it is also known as a linear regression models. And because there are more than one regressions we have taken, so it is known as a multiple linear regression. So a regression model that involves more than one regression variable is called multiple linear regression. For example, suppose that a yield in a pound with reference to the chemical process depends on the temperature and the catalyst concentration. तो yield यहाँ पे हम किलोग्राम की जगह पे पाउंड में लिया है, ठीक है? तो yield is a function of temperature and the catalyst concentration. So the relation between y and x1, x2 is linear in parameters. Then it is said to be example of a multiple linear regression models. Here the assumption says that epsilon is normally independent with mean 0, variance sigma is square, sigma epsilon square. Second, x1 and x2 are independent. That means there is no collinearity among x1 x2. So there is a concept of collinearity and multicollinearity that we will see later. Further, epsilon and y are also independently distributed. Yes, इसका mic on है, mute कर दीजिए. Okay. So multiple regression models might describe the relationship between y and x1, x2 as this. Where y denotes the yield and x1, x2 denote the temperature and catalyst concentration. So this is a multiple regression model with the two regressions. The term linear is used because the equation 1 is a linear function of observation of unknown parameters. तो आपको मैंने इंटरनल टेस्ट में पूछा था कि y इक्वल टू f of x1 x2 x2 plus xk plus epsilon. Okay, the relation between is known as a linear model if the relation between y and x1 x2 xk, तो उसमें आएगा linear in parameters, not only linear but they are linear in parameters, and epsilon is a random part. So this part is known as a systematic part and this part is known as a random part. तो आपको वही लिखना था. This is a systematic, this is a random. This is not the error part, systematic and random part. दिख रहा है आप सबको?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The parameter beta 0 is the mean of y where x1 x2 hold 0. तो आपका आगे वाला इक्वेशन में है बीटा 0 क्या मिलेगा? If you take x1 x2 hold 0, then beta 0 is nothing but obtained by estimate is nothing but y bar, because usually what is the beta 0 estimate? Beta 0 is nothing but y bar minus beta 1 cap x1 bar minus beta 2 cap x2 bar. So if x1 x2 is 0, this part is 0, so beta 0 cap is giving the mean of y and is said to be a intercept parameters of a regression line. The parameters beta 1 indicate the expected change. तो ये beta 1 क्या indicate करता है? It is the expected change in the y when 1 unit of change is made in x1 when x2 held fixed. तो यहाँ पे बात करते हैं. The parameter beta 1 indicate the expected change in the response per unit change in the x1 when x2 held constant. Held, not hold. X2 held constant. Similarly, beta 2 measures the expected change in the y per unit change in a x2 when x1 held constant. तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है कि earlier क्या था? Beta 1 is nothing but expected change in the y when 1 unit of change observed in the x. Held constant की बात ही नहीं था. क्यों? Because there are no other variables. But here I am interested to know that what is the impact of x1 on the y. So the impact of x1 on y can be measured by the beta 1. But this is said to be regression coefficient. But यहाँ पे आपको क्या करना है? x2 को आप constant रख के, इसका मतलब you are trying to measure the partial effect of beta 1. Okay, so that is how beta 1, beta 2 are said to be a partial regression coefficient. So parameter beta 1 indicate the expected changes in the response y per unit change in x1 when x2 is constant, and second that beta 2 is nothing but expected change in the y when per unit change in x2 when x1 is held constant. Therefore beta 1 and beta 2 known as a partial regression coefficient. If somebody is asked you why they are said to be partial regression coefficient, जैसे हम partial correlation ढूंढते हैं ना, the correlation between y and x1 when x2 is fixed, तो beta 1 क्या है? It is the partial regression coefficient when x2 is constant. The general form of the multiple linear regression having the k regressions is given by y equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x1, beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3 up to beta k xk. अगर k equal to 2 लिया तो we get the earlier, and epsilon has the normal independent with mean 0 and variance sigma square. This model describes the hyperplane in the k dimension space. अगर 2 ले रहे हैं तो it is a hyperplane in a 2-dimensional space. of the regression variables xj. तो यहाँ पे हम इसको ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं, y equal to beta 0 plus summation j equal to 1 to k. यहाँ पे I लगाया तो it is a xi j beta j plus epsilon I. तो बीटा j क्या है? It is the jth regression coefficient. And xij is nothing but it is the, what is that? It is the value of the jth regression on a ith response. Regression कौन सा है? j, तो j equal to 1 to k, तो it is the value of the jth regression on the ith response. Response कौन सा है? I equal to 1 to. We have measured the response on a n of respondent. So beta j, what is beta j represent? इसको आप ऐसे लिखा है तो beta j represent the expected change in the y for a per unit of change in the xj when all remaining regressions are held constant. So what is that? Beta j. Beta j is nothing but it measures the expected change in y per unit change in xj when all other regressions held constant. Okay, so बाकी के regressions क्या है आपके? Constant है, तब की बात करेंगे. So that is called, and that is how beta j is also known as a partial regression coefficient. Called the partial regression coefficient. So multiple linear regression models are often used as empirical model for approximating the function. तो आपके पास ये है function है, we don't know what is the relation, so we always start with the linear. Let us say the relation between y and x on x to x is a linear. We don't know that the actual functional form, so we always start with the linear. So the true functional relation between y and x on x to x are unknown, but our certain ranges of the regression variable in regression model is an adequate approximate the true unknown function. So we start with the linearity and then try to estimate. So now the thing is that I wish to estimate the model. So to estimate the models, it is as good as that estimate the parameters of the model. So what are the assumptions? You can see that is y equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x plus beta k x k plus epsilon ij, where mean of epsilon ij is 0, variance is constant, covariance between epsilon I and epsilon j is 0, where I not equal to 0. That means they are independently distributed. Y is observed response and xij is the observed value of xj. So this is, you can write the, there are n respondent. तो पहले respondent का response क्या है? y1 है, and the regression x11, x12, x1k. Second आया तो x21, x22, x2k likewise. So you can have this yi equal to beta 0. That is what I have written earlier. With beta j xij plus epsilon I. Now you can also write this in a matrix notation. It is matrix notation is y is equal to x beta plus epsilon. Okay. So we use all the theories of the general linear model, but here we assume that x dash x inverse exists. If it is not exists, then there is a problem of a multicollinearity. We apply the all that, the relation. What is the estimate of beta cap? The beta cap is x dash x inverse x dash y. What is the sum of square due to regression? The sum of square due to regression is beta cap transpose x transpose y. SSE. So what is SS due to error? It is the E dash E. What is E? So E is nothing but y minus x beta cap. So all the theories which we have developed for the general linear models, we will use for the multiple linear regression. But somebody said, no, I wish to apply the theory of least square by solving this way. So you can write the summation of ei square, epsilon I square is nothing but yi minus beta 0 minus, this is integration, sorry, summation j equal to 1 to k beta j x j square. I wish to minimize the equation 5 with respect to beta 0 and beta j. So one can take the derivative of the function with respect to beta 0 beta 1 k. You can apply the least square and equate it to 0. तो beta 0 का करेंगे तो क्या होगा? What is this? Summation epsilon I square is equal to summation yi minus beta 0 minus j equal to 1 to k beta j xij whole square. So take the derivative of this, इसको s कहा, तो derivative of s with respect to beta 0 क्या मिलेगा? It is the twice of summation. तो यह लिखा है twice of summation. And what is the beta 0 derivative? Beta 0 derivative is minus 1. That is how this is minus twice and equated to 0. Which if you take with respect to beta 1 or beta j, then what happen? It is a twice of summation yi minus beta 0 this. So that is what it is written into what is the partial derivative of this. तो जहां j है वहां पे ही आएगा, तो उसका कोएफिशिएंट क्या है? xij. तो it is a multiply में आएगा xij, and because the sign is minus, so it is minus equated to 0. So you can have the first normal equation from this. You can see that summation yi, this minus 2 will be cancelled out. So summation yi, that is n y bar minus beta 0 cap, that is the n beta 0 cap. Okay, यहाँ पे summation y लिखा, y bar नहीं, n y bar. And this is a आपका क्या आएगा? Beta j cap xij. So this is what you can get the first normal equation. Similarly, for the j equal to 1, you can have another, j equal to k, you have another. So you can have a set of normal equation. And how many parameters now you have? A beta 0, beta 1 up to beta k. That means one intercept and k regression coefficient. So total parameters are k plus 1. That means total normal equations are also a k plus 1. And you solve this, you can get the estimate of the beta 0, beta 1 and beta k. But we always advise that it is best way to obtain right in the matrix notation, and you can easily obtain this. But somebody wish, they can. So you write this particular multiple linear regression in a mathematical, in a matrix notation, y is equal to x beta plus e, and we wish to minimize the summation ei square, that is e dash e. So I wish to minimize this, and we know that it is nothing but y dash y minus 2 times beta transpose x transpose y plus beta transpose x transpose y, and take the derivative with respect to the beta, you will get this minus 2 times x transpose y plus 2 x transpose x beta equated to 0, you will get this. And here, because we have the assumption that x1, x2, xk are independent. When they are independent, this is the assumption of a multiple linear regression. So that means the x dash x inverse exists. And if they are not independent, then x dash x inverse does not exist. Okay. So if there exists, so what is the estimate of beta? It is a beta cap. So यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? Provided that x dash x inverse is always exist, that is regressors are linearly independent. That means no columns of x matrix is a linear combination of other columns. That means there is no problem of a multicollinearity. And once we get obtained estimate, what is the estimated value? It is y cap equal to x beta cap. That you can write as a, जहाँ parameter था वहाँ पे आप replace कर दो this. So what is y cap? Y cap is equal to x beta cap. X equal to this. What is beta cap? X dash x inverse y. So I call them as a H matrix. That is, I have written H equal to X, X dash X, inverse X dash. And I call this a hat matrix. As I told you, H is usually called the hat matrix, and it is the matrix. The difference between the observed value and the fitted value, we call them as residuals. In a vector notation, it is a y minus y cap. And what is the y cap? It is a x beta cap. So you can write y minus h y, and y minus h y is nothing but I minus h y. So that is E is written as I minus h y. Okay. What are the properties of least square? So we already obtained that expected value of beta cap is beta. That means beta cap is an unbiased estimator of beta. I will not prove it. And what is the variance of beta? The variance of beta is nothing but sigma square into x dash x inverse. So that you can also verify at home. क्योंकि हम जानते हैं variance of beta cap is equal to variance of x dash to variance of x dash x inverse x dash y. And if I call this as a, it is variance of ay. And this is nothing but a variance of y a dash. And variance of y is the sigma square in. So it is the sigma square a transpose. And what is a? So a is written as x dash x inverse x dash, and the transpose is a x dash x inverse. So this is a identity. So it is nothing but sigma square x dash x inverse. Okay. So that is how it is written. So because residuals or the epsilon has the normal distribution, which means 0 and sigma square, and y is a linear function of epsilon. So of course y has the normal distribution, which means x beta and variance sigma square. And because beta cap is a linear function of y, so beta cap is also a normally distributed, okay, with how many degrees of freedom? So it has a k degree of freedom. Then normally with k degree of freedom, and with mean beta and variance is sigma square x dash y. We have already obtained the ML estimate of sigma square. It is nothing but we obtain y minus x beta cap transpose y minus x beta cap upon n. ML estimate, or we can say it is a SSE upon n, or we say that it is a y dash my upon n. But what is the least square estimate? It is a sigma cap square is nothing but SSE upon n minus p. तो मैंने आपको MCQ में पूछा था, करेक्शन आपको करवाया था कि फाइंड आउट द लीस्ट स्क्वायर एस्टिमेट ऑफ द सिग्मा स्क्वायर. तो आंसर ये था. आप सब ने ज्यादातर ML एस्टिमेट का आंसर लिखा है. ठीक है. So these three options I have given. These all are the ML estimate of sigma square. Only this is the least square estimate of a sigma square. So I think we will keep up to this. Any questions up to this?